Starter Robbie Supple on top of the rostrum, ready for them. He holds the flag aloft. In they come. They're off for the Unibet Champion Hurdle of 2024. A field of 8 on their way, and on the right, State Man with the yellow sleeves is handy as they make the approach to the first, with Nemean Line in the purple and yellow also in the leading line. So too the grey Irish Point. One from the left, the white face Not So Sleepy. Luccia out widest of all, the mauve and yellow circs for James Bowen. Colonel Mustard in the red and white tracks them on the long run between the opening pair of flights. Zarak the Brave in the double green, the spotted gap for Darryl Jacob held up, and likewise Iberico Lord, Nick Boinville in the McManus hoops, the white cap as well grouped. They begin to close in on the second. Not So Sleepy, Nemean Line and State Man just about the leading trio. Over Irish Point, Luccia, Colonel Mustard, Iberico Lord towards the inner, and right in behind Zarak the Brave. And into the wings of the second they come, and Not So Sleepy picks up just ahead, leads them into the turn. Over a Nemean Line, a couple of lengths away to State Man, and then Irish Point who disputes third place in advance of Luccia. Colonel Mustard, red and white jacket, is the shadow to on the inside Iberico Lord, and Zarak the Brave a length further back. Broadly similar sort of pace at this stage of the race as it was to the Supreme over the same course and distance earlier. They turn to go on down the hill on the approach to the third. Not So Sleepy over Nemean Line. Grey Irish Point racing on the far side of State Man, and then Colonel Mustard, Iberico Lord and Luccia in a line. The Henderson pair racing either side of Colonel Mustard. Zarak the Brave ridden with patience in rear in a still well-grouped field. Not So Sleepy hurdling slickly, more fluent there than Nemean Line, who just left a trailing leg. Irish Point is a very close third, and then State Man. Luccia has tugged their way up through the field. The mauve and yellow silks for James Bowen racing ahead now of Colonel Mustard and Iberico Lord. Zarak the Brave remains last, but they're still very tightly clustered up as they move on towards the fourth. Not So Sleepy leads the Unibet Champion Hurdle field. Over Nemean Line, just slightly put down on that Not So Sleepy. Nemean Line comes alongside. Then Irish Point and Luccia. State Man, Townend removes a bit of dirt from his goggles, racing ahead of Colonel Mustard. Zarak the Brave and the double green out wide. Iberico Lord ridden with great patience by Nicky Henderson as they go through halfway and head to the flight at the top of the hill. The fifth of the 8. Not So Sleepy over Nemean Line, who kicked it half to the ground. Irish Point stalking them. State Man poised on the inner of Luccia. And then Colonel Mustard, Iberico Lord and Zarak the Brave as they reach the highest point of the track and prepare to freewheel on down the hill. They've got 3 flights of hurdles left to jump in the Unibet Champion Hurdle, and Not So Sleepy is joined again by Nemean Line. Irish Point waiting in the wings, slipstreaming them coming down the hill. State Man yet to make any sort of a move. The yellow sleeves of Paul Townend, upsides Luccia. Then Zarak the Brave out wide to Iberico Lord, the white cap, and Colonel Mustard in the red and white. And here's the third last. Nemean Line picking up just ahead of Not So Sleepy. Irish Point has travelled up very strongly. State Man is sitting right on his tail. Luccia is bang there. And now Iberico Lord up the inner is asked to close. The white cap ahead of Zarak the Brave and Colonel Mustard. And they're still very well grouped. And here's the second last. Nemean Line joined by Irish Point. State Man though hard on their heels as they begin the swing for home. Then Luccia, Not So Sleepy is weakened away. Zarak the Brave has been bustled up in behind. Irish Point and Nemean Line, but here goes State Man now, ghosting into it away to the left, and Townend is yet to twitch, and State Man comes right alongside Irish Point. Zarak the Brave is running on in behind with Luccia as Nemean Line backs out of it. The final flight, State Man by a whisker. Irish Point though with stamina assured its gain. Now Townend shakes up State Man. He goes a length clear. Irish Point fighting on bravely. State Man with Constitution Hill absent. State Man has his day in the sun and wins the Unibet Champion Hurdle. Irish Point second, Luccia third, tight fourth, Zarak the Brave and Colonel Mustard.
Well, as we all expected, State Man has gone one better in the Champion Hurdle and won it for Willie Mullins with Paul Townend on board. How do you assess the performance? It was kind of more workmanlike than
Very
wow.
Workmanlike, yeah. But I think on that ground, you don't want to set a horse alight too early, and that's what Paul was afraid of. One of the things he was afraid of coming down the hill, that if he got racing too early, that maybe Irish Point might outstay him. I don't know. I mean, we think our fellow's a good stayer, but he was very, he didn't want to get racing too early. He just wanted to deliver him when he was ready to deliver him. So he didn't look flashy, and probably horses that maybe you'd think shouldn't be near him, finish near him in that ground. A lot of horses were riding for place money, so they had a different agenda. You probably had Irish Point and Stateman, riding to win the race, whereas a lot of the other horses were just there because Constitution Hill didn't turn up.
It was also a steady pace, wasn't it? It's difficult to be flashy in those kind of circumstances.
Yeah, I thought it was. Some people around me were saying it wasn't, but I didn't see the split times yet. But
it's slower than a not very quick Supreme.
Right, okay, yeah. And then, every horse has bits of speed at the end, and they're able to stay on, where if it was a more testing gallop, the good ones would just come away from the field. But it never really got to that.
No. The thing about Stateman, though, is that he does find a way to win, bar when he ran into Constitution Hill. Yeah. He is so reliable and so straightforward.
He turns up. He is a hardy horse. There's very ever anything wrong with him, and that's worth anything. We've so many good horses at home who are fragile. When you look at Verney Hollow, and then Energumene went out. The amount of horses, they're like footballers. They're on the injury list. But when you get this fellow, if he was playing football, I'd say he'd be playing in every match in the Premiership every Sunday, and he'd be scoring goals too. So
he'd be the linchpin of your team.
He's a solid guy on the team.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, do you think Cheltenham brings out the best in him?
Probably not. Probably not. He seems to be better on nicer ground in Ireland, but maybe I never really worried about that before. But on his last two runs, you might think not. But we were very happy that we had him in a way better position this year than we had last year. I just thought he'd improved. I thought his second last run in Leopardstown was better than anything he ever did. And, so the horse got stronger himself this year and matured.
And next up, we've got a mare who might be taking him on this time next year, potentially in Luccia.
It's tough. I mean, she won the Triumph Hurdle. Those Triumph Hurdle winners usually go out in trips, so 2.5 miles shouldn't be any problem to her. It is very heavy ground. Is that going to be a problem? I don't know, but she should have plenty of stamina. So we're fingers crossed things go well here.
Although you were quite free with the hoods for this first day, you didn't put one on her. She did get lit up at one point in the Triumph Hurdle last year, but she was sort of carried out at one point. Did you put it down to that?
I debated it. I asked Paul, would he prefer a hood on her because of that incident last year, but he said no, he was quite happy that she was nice and placid and he'd be fine with her. Okay.
So. And of her stable companions, which one might give her the biggest shock, do you think?
I don't know, Ashrow Diamond, might.
With her,
she's improving all the time. Yeah, Gallimore Stone, you'd have to put a line through her performance the last day in Punchestown. But she's capable of running a good race after she won that race in the Prix Alain de Braille in France last year, and that's their equivalent of the Triumph Hurdle, and that shows she has stamina. Because that race is 2-2, I think. And but it was running very fast ground that day. So, but she's here and she deserves to be here as well. So they all. Anyhow, I hope for Lossiemouth's sake, Lossiemouth does it. She's a good mare.
We look forward to seeing what they all can do. Best of luck and congratulations.
Thank you very much. Cheers, guys.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.